Welcome back to another episode of Alumni to Alumni, where we bridge the past and the present through the stories of our incredible alumni community. In this special Giving Tuesday edition, we're passing the mic to Shavonda Sisson and Anthony Espinoza.
My name is Shavonda Sisson, and my pronouns are she, her, hers. And I served at Public Allies Milwaukee from 2008 to 2010. I did 2 terms of service. Currently, I am the chief of staff of Ubuntu Research and Evaluation based in Milwaukee. And currently, I'm enjoying working through some failures and figuring out what I've learned from them and how to share them to just pull me deeper into my work at Ubuntu.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anthony Espinoza. My pronouns are he, him. I served at Public Allies Milwaukee, class of 2018. Shavonda was one of the program managers when I served. And currently I am the manager of alumni mobilization and engagement for Public Allies National. And I'm physically in Milwaukee, zooming in from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And something I'm enjoying at the moment, I would say just the alumni work in general that we're doing. And but if I had to be specific, I would say just the partnership development and of the alumni work. So I'm glad to be here.
Who in relation to Public Allies has been the biggest influence on your life? And then what lesson did that person or those people teach you?
Okay. Well, this is easy. In relation to PA, it's you. It's Shavonda and Ashley Lee. By far, I would say. And what lessons is it? What lessons did I take? Oh man, I guess just like so many. Like really from you, Shavonda, I would say how to hold space and love those that you love, right? And to show that you truly care. How to, and since having a kid too, I've learned so much from you on like just how to love on my daughter, right? And be there for Marlisa, my wife. And also like I guess I can't really like name something specific, but like I can just describe how it was like, walking into rooms with like you and Ashley. I always felt like, like we got this. Like there's nothing that we couldn't conquer. And yeah, I wish I could name something specific, but I know it's a lot. It's a lot. Y'all shaped me in so many ways. Was that the end of the question? Is that it?
That's it. I don't think I could take much more. I'm a
Okay.
crybaby. Nothing's changed.
Oh man.
So
Don't make me cry.
I'm always so proud of you. So proud of you. I look forward to being at Lola's wedding and definitely telling her about how you were ready and willing to drive across country in a U-Haul for 12 hours just to be there before she woke up in the morning.
Man.
If I in any way influence how big and how grand you show your love for your daughter and your family, I am honored and I've done my work. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
What is one practice you picked up as an ally that you still do now?
I have one quick funny one, and then I'll have another one. The quick funny one, I vacuum my bathroom. So
Say more.
In Milwaukee, when you go on mid-year retreat, we go to this lodge, and part of it is you have to clean. Like you clean, we help to keep the space clean and prepare for the next group that's coming. So you have like this chore list. And on the chore list is like you have to clean the toilet and clean your shower and replenish the toilet paper. And one of the tasks is to vacuum the bathroom. Now, when I first was like vacuum the bathroom, who vacuums the bathroom? Then I vacuumed the bathroom, and I was like, oh, this is pretty smooth. So now I vacuum my bathroom. Like nothing grabs the hair and that dust out that corner like that vacuum cleaner. And so that is definitely a practice that I picked up as an ally. And I think another one is making sure that I'm moving with integrity. I had the honor of having some amazing program managers that I'm still in contact with, every single one of them. Love them dearly, see them as often as possible. But they really, really had us hone in on the core values, right? And so I always try to make sure that the way that I move when people can't see me matches with what I tell people that I'm doing, right? And so I never wanted to be where a person who um, shares an identity that I said that I'm an ally for, or I protect, or I honor and I dignify, but then I'm behind closed doors, right? Like being okay with a joke being told that does not dignify them, or I'm not checking in on a relative who is carrying biases. You know, I'm not educating friends um who want to do the right thing but may not have the language or may not understand how the language that they have is harmful. So moving with integrity is definitely a practice that I carry with me. And my ally experience gave me um access to ideas and people that I don't think I would have had access to had I not did PA. You know, we have a tendency to live around, go to school with, and work with folks that are a lot like us, right? And PA kind of pulled me out of that, and I was introduced to so many people and was able to develop like really deep, meaningful, intimate relationships with folks that had experiences or identities that were different from me, right? So I carry that practice with me also, like seeking out relationships, um, with folks that have experiences and identities that are different from me. So I could go on and on because there's so
I
much.
know.
There's so much that I still carry with me.
And I feel the same way. I think that's great. And that is totally you. I attest to that, right? But PA has like the last 7 years. It's like 7+ years because really my relationship or interaction with PA started when Lisa served. But like literally the last 7 years, it's shaped me. It's like I am who I am because of PA and the people that I was surrounded with and in community with. Like, there's no doubt about it. And if you would have asked me again 10 years ago, would I be here right now with you doing something like this? Not a chance in hell. I would have never believed you. And since you did like a real good like value one, I'm gonna answer real quick. I did a practice that I continue that I think is super powerful, and it's a reflection tool in a way, but it's the letter to self. I love writing my letter to self. I try to do it every year. I do it. I have done it every year since my ally year. It's such a powerful tool, and it's great to to look back at it, to open that up, and like, oh yeah, I did say I was going to do this. I did do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
love
love to hear that you still do that. And I
it.
remember one particular letter and I remember what was in the letter. And here we are. So I love that for you. I love that so much.
Yeah. And you want to know what was in my? I think I've told you this, maybe not. But what was in my letter to self as an ally? It was
Yeah,
again.
I would love if you shared it.
Yeah, I had again no clue, right? I was just like what the first week of core week, right? We do it. But in my letter to self, one of the things that I had put in there was that I was going to be a program manager. And I don't know why, like I just, I obviously like, seeing you and admiring like the leadership and just like how you carried yourself, like, man, I want to be like that. Like I want to do that. And wouldn't you know it, one day towards the end of the year, I thought I was like in trouble. I got called. I asked to wait, after training was over, and y'all were like, "Yay, would you be interested in coming on staff?" And I thought, like, what, me? But but yeah, and other things. I think I said I was gonna be married and buy and bought a house and all of it. I did all of it. And so powerful tool.
Yeah, it really is most. And I know that you still work for National, but that's a different space,
It's
right?
not the same. Yeah, it's definitely
Right.
not.
So
It's not
what
the
do you miss
same.
most about Public Allies?
Okay, so I guess I have a couple of different perspectives. Like you said, I was an ally and then I was on staff. So I'll give from both. As an ally, I just miss. So I was at my placement. I was serving with like 5 other allies, and it was just like a great time, right? Having them there every day, and then plus some Fridays, and being in community, getting to know them better, and developing these relationships. But definitely Friday trainings, right? Coming together, and even though they were early, and just hearing the excitement and hearing all the cool things that the other allies were doing, and the lunch times. Lunchtime was always a great fiasco when you're an ally, trying to get back on time. But on staff, definitely just like, this doesn't sound mean, but like just having fun and clowning with like you and Ashley, kind of clowning with the allies, and definitely just seeing them come in on like day one, and then when they leave, the last day, it's like the growth and just like who they are, it's like blossoming, and it's just such a great thing to see and feel. So I definitely miss just, I guess, just being in community with the allies and with staff. So,
Yeah.
you want to answer the same one?
I do want to answer the same question.
Okay.
What I miss most about public allies, I'm also going to offer from the different perspective, having been in these different roles. So as an ally, I also miss Friday trainings. So I was like the carpool mom because I was one of the few allies that drove. And so I would drop my boys off. I had my 3 boys during PA. So I would drop my boys off at daycare or school. And then I would make my rounds picking people up. And no doubt we were late. We were late, like every single Friday. We were late. Program managers didn't give me too much because they knew I had to drop.
I was saying, did you get the door? Did you get the door like was shut?
No.
And then you had to
No,
wait?
they didn't give me too much of a hard time because they knew I had my boys.
Yeah.
And like when I was an ally, much like when you were an ally, Friday training was always in different spaces. So and I couldn't drop my boys off early for school or daycare. And so I was given a little bit of wiggle room. But then also I was out driving around like a school bus picking people up. So we would have to like sign in. So as soon as it was like 8:30, they would highlight, and anything under the highlighter was late.
The highlighting, yes.
So I would just be like, Shavonda, late. So when we talk about like allies giving us a hard time, it is my karma because I was horrible as an ally. I really was.
Oh,
But being on staff, I miss how much we love being with each other. I will always hold dear, like during the pandemic when we would like huddle freezing in somebody's yard or somebody's garage. But being so very careful with each other because we didn't want to get each other sick, if any of us was sick, but very much wanting to be together, like parks, parking lots, like you name it. And I don't know any other group of folks outside of like my mother that I put that much intention into finding ways to physically be together that I did with you all. And I think the ways in which serving allies like calls for you to pull into community with other staff members is truly unique. There's not another workspace where you're going to move. People like, oh, we're family. No, y'all are family, right? Having been present for so many important things in your lives, whether it was, the best things or some of the worst things. I remember when I lost my cousin, and I remember very specifically coming into the office. I think it was me, you, and Ty were in the back room doing something, and I had no focus. And Ty gave me a task, and it was the simplest task. And it was all I could hold, right? But just to be seen at work in those ways is so special. I'm very fortunate to be somewhere now that I'm seen in those same ways, but I had never been seen like that at work before. And so I miss that. I miss that togetherness. I work mainly remotely now. And so there's a different level of touch points. And we're not frequently pulled together around a thing or a person in the same ways that we were as program managers at PA. I feel like I'm gonna retire and then come back like, can I be a program manager?
Yeah. It's like your part-time or your retirement gig. I love that.
Give me a couple allies. So I can give me your hardest cases so I can tussle with.
Man, honestly, I echo that. That was such a special time. I feel like that the squad when me, you, Todd, Ashley, and then when Matthew came on, and yeah, no, it's funny when people say, "Oh yeah, my family, my people at work are like my family." Like, I don't know if they mean it the same way like how we mean it, and yeah, it's such a special time. I was just telling Lisa how like, man, I'm super lucky to have spoiled in a way to go from being an ally to spending since being an ally my whole professional career with PA, right? Because there's no space like a PA space, and
There's no
yeah,
space.
it's so true. What is your first memory of me?
I don't know if I remember my first memory. I do remember my first memory of you as Tony, the program manager.
Yeah. All right.
We were at opening retreat, and at opening retreat, allies are still trying to get to know you, so they testing your gangster.
Oh,
They
yeah.
trying to figure out who you are as staff, what they can get away with, and there were some allies that may have allegedly been engaged in some prohibited activities. Allegedly, we were never able to
Allegedly.
crack the
Allegedly.
case. But I remember us as staff being like outside of this room, and it's like, so what are we gonna do? We're like, what are we gonna say? And before we could figure out what we're gonna say, you're like, boom, 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 open up. And I'm like, Tony is about that action, okay? Like sometimes you
Oh,
gotta be about
man.
that action,
Yeah.
right? And I think it's so
Yeah.
important you have a team. I think it's why our team works so well because we had you who's about that action, right?
Right.
You had me
Uh-huh.
who was kind of in the middle. I could be about that action, or I also can spend some time contemplating. So you had Ashley who always wanted to be very thoughtful before approaching things. But in that
Right.
moment, you were about that action. And I'm like,
Right.
okay, Tony's
I
on staff.
wasted no time.
Tony
I
is on
know.
staff. And that is a core memory. That is also a story I can always tell people about you. And I think it also it speaks to who you are. You're about that action. I'm about to do a thing. I'm about to
Mm,
do a thing. Much like with your letter to self, like you put
mm,
intentionality behind a thing, and I'm doing it right.
mm,
And I love that about you. But that is my
mm.
first memory of you as a staff
Program manager. Yeah.
member. Um,
Oh, man.
Standing on business.
Yeah. That seems like such a long time ago, right? Like
Mhm.
it's so funny to reflect back at that core week, that first core. Um, God, I miss that. I miss core week. I miss
That
everything about being
that
a program
was
manager. I'm not
that
gonna
was
lie.
the messiest core week
It
ever.
was.
It was so bad. It was so full of memories.
Mhm.
Um,
Ah,
that core
legendary class. I think I have that class's
that class is
picture.
legendary. I also have
Yeah.
that. I also have that
Hmm.
photo. That class was legendary.
Yeah. So thoughtful too. Like they were great. They put us through a lot,
They
but
put us
like,
through it,
man,
but they will never forget them.
yeah, never, ever, ever. Okay. Can I answer the first one or the same one?
Yes.
I'm trying to think again. It's so hard, man. There's so many things that happen that I'm just like, all right. So again, I'm sure after this, I'm going to think of like 100 more memories that happened before this one. But do you remember? Maybe it was the second year, our second. It was my second year on staff, and it was the AmeriCorps opening ceremony. And we
Mhm.
went to that lodge, and it was super problematic. They had this guest speaker who was super problematic, and the allies were, again, allies are tough. They'll see through you. They cutting you no slack, right? And the speaker was being problematic, and an ally was kind of, I think, whispering to you or whispering to us or saying something about it. And normally, like, someone would have been like, "All right, I'll just whatever. It's almost over." But not Shavonda. She was like, screw that. Everyone get up. We're leaving. And it was just like such a great, like, it was like a movie almost. Cause like, we're in our black track jackets and like, so 40 plus of us
Business
just all
casual,
stand up.
business casual.
Yeah. Yeah. And business casual. Right. And we all just stood up and walked out of the AmeriCorps ceremony. And, afterwards we let them know our thoughts. And I just love that about you. Right. But again, I'm about the action, but like, so are you when it matters. Right. Like, um, and that's just like one, but I know there's more, way more than that, way more than that. But another funny one is again just going back to like how we were like a family when I came, I was off for like a day or something like that. I came back to the office and plastered my cubicle with pictures of, of my cats.
Mhm, mhm.
That was hilarious. Ah, so many,
That
so many memories.
that prank backfired in the best
It
way.
did.
In the best way. We were like, he's gonna be so irritated with us. And you were like, oh my God, you guys, thank you. And I'm like,
I
wait,
thought it was great.
this isn't going how we thought it went. But it was like, oh my God, I love Tony so
Yeah,
much. You
her
just
babies, man.
so sweet. Like, it's just like, thank y'all. And I'm like, no, you're supposed to be angry with
I
us.
know. I was finding photos because y'all went into like you put them in between papers. So like for months, I would find just a random cat photo printed out, and even just when we cleared out the office, I still found a
That
bunch
is
more. I'm
so
like,
funny. That is so funny. Yeah, we
yeah,
had a good time hiding those. We had
that
a
is
good
awesome.
time. So let's talk a little bit more about your role with Public Allies now. And did you ever imagine you'd be here when you were an ally?
Absolutely not. So now, again, I think I'm one of the people in the organization that has and I'm not the only one, but this unique perspective in that I was an ally, then a program manager, and then from site staff, and then I was on site staff, but not supporting allies, and now being at the national office. So again, like I said, I'm the national manager of alumni mobilization and engagement. And no, I would have never imagined myself, especially being at the national office. Even though we used to talk about like that, yo, like they should put us on the road and go to sites. I remember that.
Listen, the dream team. I would.
Dream
I got that
team.
call like at Shavonda, Anthony, it's time.
Put us
I
in, put us
gotta figure out how to work from Ubuntu and be on the road.
in. But yeah, so that's all to say no. And just a little context. I love sharing this. I think I hold the unofficial record for the most family members to have gone through PA. So my wife, Marlisa started it off, it was the legacy, and then I did it. But since I completed it, my sister and 3 cousins all completed it. And I think Shavonda, you were their program manager for all of them, weren't you? My
Was
sister,
I?
Mariah. I think
Oh my
so.
God, I
Yeah, you
was.
were. Yep. Vega,
I
Khalid,
probably hold the
and
record for having
Osas.
the most allies that were related.
And but I mean, again, and they all love you too, right? So I was in culinary school. I was not doing anything similar at all, even close to PA work. But Marlisa was coming home and telling me about the things she was learning, the people she was meeting, and I'm like, immediately I wanted to do it. But yeah, before coming into PA, I thought I was gonna be like, living my best Anthony Bourdain life, being a chef, and but here I am. So yeah, not a snowball's chance that I have to think that I would be here right now doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You want to answer the same one?
Absolutely. So I'm currently a member of the national board. So from ally to program manager. And then I think I served in the first program director role for PA Wisconsin. I don't
Mm,
think that role existed previously. And then as a national board member, I never imagined I would be here. I think as an ally, I had an understanding of like what board service was, but to think that I would be serving public allies in this way is not something I could have foreseen. I think about who I was as an ally. Recently single mother with 3 young boys. I think all of them may have been in diapers when I started PA. I had made the decision to go back to school full time, and so I was barely treading water. So I didn't even understand
mm,
like service to my community in a lot of ways, and definitely did not understand or know that it was possible for me to be serving PA in the way that I am now. Um, Even I think in the ways that I still continue to like advise or coach previous allies or current PA Milwaukee staff, I never could have seen that. Like when people
mm.
call me for certain things, I'm like, I'm your adult. Like
Hey, you're my adult, Jonah, for real,
right.
for real.
Like
Like,
when
I,
did I
yep,
become when did I become the
yep,
adult? Right.
mhm,
I will never forget during early pandemic, someone who is like PA Milwaukee legend, right? Emailed me for advice. And I'm like, what the fuck is oh my God. Do people see me as a leader? Do people see me as an adult? My adult is asking me adult questions?
mhm.
And it wasn't like it wasn't advice like how do I get on Zoom? It was advice like
Yeah.
I'm having this issue with my staff and da 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 maintaining community. And I'm like, what the fuck is happening? So I never they probably can't use all this cussing. But anyway, I never,
I mean,
ever, 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 ever could have imagined, even
yeah.
as I'm currently in a thing, it's still hard for me to see
Mhm,
myself in the thing. Right.
mhm.
Um, so never, never saw this.
I mean, it's for me, it's like easy to see, right? Like I'm like, of course, right? But I think it speaks to just how much folks trust you, right? And believe that they can come to you for a safe space. And that you're going to give it to them, right? Whether they want to hear it or not. That's another thing. Like, I love that how you would just like you're going to give not maybe advice is like whatever, right? Not the right word, but like the reflection that you would give to me or anyone, I feel like is like the real reflection on something, how you really feel and your thoughts and your perspective. And I think that's cherished and valued by the people in your life. So I love that. When you picture the future of public allies, what do you see?
Yeah.
Is deep.
Public allies has had some trouble over the last, year or so. And as difficult as that time was, I feel it in my body, right? I feel the emotions
Mm,
coming. Um, as difficult as that time was, there were some opportunities that came out of it.
yeah.
I think some opportunities to really examine what are our values at PA and not just what we have on paper, what are we living, right? And that's from ally up into ch- chairwoman of the board of public allies. Like what are our values? How are we living into them? How are we leaning into them, right? Um, and so I've tried to stay focused on that as we move through like this period of like healing and looking forward with PA. It's a really hard question for me. Harder than I expected. What do I see? I see public allies back in the communities that we were in previously, plus some. Um, I picture a future where we are trusted members of community, right? Where people trust that we will remain there as we have been in the past. Um, I also have this vision for PA that we are like the thought leaders around
Mm,
what does it mean to serve and lead in community with integrity, with um, innovation, right? All of our core values. Like, what is it like to do
mm,
that? And that when I talk about like, my adult came to me for advice, all the adults need to be coming to PA, right? Like, how did
mm,
y'all do this? How did y'all craft these leaders? I want to see our alumni leading in all sectors, right? We focus a lot on
mm,
nonprofit. We have a little bit more focus now, I think, on elected offices. But
mm,
imagine if PA alum were like leaders in industry, right? Like what that could
mm,
look like. What does it look like? What could it look like if we do dismantle like, the
mm,
patriarchy and now our alumni are leading in these particular ways. So that is the future that I picture for public allies.
mm,
I picture it being where everybody wants to be an ally, right? Like that is it. People think about I gotta get into an Ivy, I gotta get into an Ivy, I gotta get into public
mm,
ally. I have to.
mm,
And so that is the future that I see. And I do believe that that future is possible.
mm. I love that. I agree with that. Take over the world, but and do good with it, right?
Yeah.
Um,
In
I love
what
that.
ways have you or would you like to give back to the public allies community?
Oh, wow. Time, talent, treasure, right?
Yeah.
And I think at this point in my life, what I'm able to give most is talent and treasure, right? Be whether it be connecting with allies or even alumni from when I was serving my cohort to work through some ideation on a project they're working on. Um, yeah, what else? And of course, so I give, of course, money because it's important. And
Mhm.
there's three organizations that I give to every single year, and PA is one of them. Um, and also, I just love, you know, if there's any TSPs or service days happening, like let me know, hit me up because I'd love to participate.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I think that's how I get back. All right, let's do the same one for you. So, in what ways have you or would you like to give back to the Public Allies community?
Um, yeah, I wish I had more money to give. I regularly give to public allies. When you said time, talent, and treasure, I try to hit all
Mm,
three. I attend events at local sites as often as possible. I was just we were at an event together just last.
Yeah.
So I attend as often as possible. I stay connected with other alumni to just to know what they're doing, to have those touch points, to connect alumni. If I can, I love connecting alumni. I love meeting alumni. I was recently at an event in Dallas, and every time we discovered somebody was an alumni, it was like a squeal, like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
Like, just so excited, like, to be around each other and with so much
Mhm.
energy for each other. And so I give financially, I give of my time as a board member. I advise the local staff as they invite me in to do so. I'm
Mhm.
always available to support current allies, um, alumni,
Mhm.
and yeah, so all the ways. I do wish
Mhm.
I wish I had more money to give. Wish I had a huge endowment to be like,
I
here you
know.
go. Here's all the money you need. Because I definitely would. And if I ever come into a nice sum of money, public allies will be seen,
Oh,
right?
yeah. I not fantasize, but I daydream sometimes about, like, when the lottery gets to, like, the outrageous number, I'm like, "Man, what
Do
would
you
be the first thing I would do?" And the first thing I would do is give PA.
get PA, get PA,
I
PA, Wisconsin? Every ally, you'll get a car, you'll get a car, you'll
Right.
get a car, right?
I
Like,
like good cars, right. I swear I
you'll
would
get in
do
the
that.
car. Okay, your risk about to
Swear.
be paid, baby. You ain't got no work. All you gotta do is serve with fidelity, and be on time to Friday training. That's all I ask of you. Um, but I
I
would
would buy,
definitely
like, a
wish you
PA building just for everyone to, like, to live in, right? Like, if you're an ally, it's, like, kinda
that,
like a dorm, right?
and
That'd
with
be cool.
a training space, like
Oh, yeah.
in the building, like a state of the art training space, because the amount of
Yes.
lugging projectors and
Mhm.
flip chart paper and markers up and down in the snow in the back
That
alleys.
flip chart. And I swear, oh man, lugging around all that equipment, yeah, that was a struggle back in the day.
But we'll do it again.
Man,
Really, just always want to
oh,
make
I
sure
would,
guys have the
mhm,
best experience we could offer to them. But
mhm,
I would definitely there would if I had the money, alumni programming would be
it'd be lit.
ridiculous.
Be lit. It'd be great. I love that. I love you, Shavonda. Like, thank you. Like,
I
this has been
love
great. Like,
you.
man, I
Um,
wish we, wish we did this more often. But
we need to figure out how to
I
do it
think
more
we hit our
often. Last question. So I'm gonna ask you the last question. I think we should both answer it to close
yeah.
us out. And that is, what would you say to fellow alumni to inspire them to participate in giving back and contributing to causes that matter to them?
Yeah, I think just going back to what we were just referencing, time, talent, and treasure, right? So I think some folks are able to give money and some folks aren't, and that's okay. You can give in so many different ways. And it does matter. Even if you are able to give in money terms, $1, right? That adds up, especially if it's an alumni, right? We have, 10,000 plus alumni. If everyone gave $1, that'd be great, right? That'd be fantastic. We'd be able to do so much with that. And yeah, so again, there's so many different ways to support and give. And I would just encourage them to, especially this time of year, right? And it's the holiday season, and of course, you're going to be inundated with requests and asks for donations and that. But I think just take a beat, reflect, and think about how you want to give, whether it's the money or your time or talent. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, I would say so one thing that I learned this from Tracy Porter, who is one of the most brilliant Black women that I know. And one thing Tracy always says that is that budgets are moral documents, right? So
Mm,
budgets tell you like where your values lie. And a lot of times when we examine budgets, for example, state budgets, school budgets, or we look at like where you're spending your money,
mhm,
right? And that tells you like what you value. Um, I know that our alumni value public allies. The way that our alumni showed up and rallied behind public allies when it was most needed,
mhm,
um, I have no question, I have no doubt about it. Um, and so I think that when thinking about your giving and what your giving looks like, time, talent, and treasure, like you said, is so important. If there's ever a time where somebody is trying to figure out like, what do I have to offer PA? I'm telling you, reach out to your local site, have a conversation. Like, I'm interested in supporting Public Allies. What are the needs? Or like, this is who I am, or this is what I do. This is who I'm connected with. I promise you, they will make a use for that time and talent.
Oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and in terms of treasure, like Anthony said, like even if you're only able to give like such a small, I don't want to say such a small amount. Part of the work that I also do is I run a fund called Love on Black Women, and
Mhm.
my favorite donations come from women that may have received financial support from us, and they will cash at me a dollar once a month. Those are my favorites, right? Because that means that you are investing in the community that invested in you, and that is what we need. Like, we need folks to reinvest, right, in places that have invested for them. Like, if it was meaningful for you, like it was
Yes.
meaningful for me, um, I want to continue to have that. I want to continue for that space to be a space for other people, but also selfishly, right? Um, if Public Allies does better, my resume looks better. Like, I've
Right.
actually gotten interviews because people saw that I was a Public Allies alum,
Yeah,
and they were curious. They were curious
I
to meet
believe
me
it.
because they know other alum, or they know alum that are fantastic. So, like, if you want to think about it, like in those terms,
Hmm.
the strength of our network just strengthens your network and strengthens what you will have access to. And I talk about that even like when people, um, like I think nobody does a better job than asking for money from alumni than colleges and universities.
Right.
It's like, congratulations, here's your degree. Here's an envelope so you can donate, right?
Right.
And like, alumni support strengthens colleges and universities the same way that
Yeah.
alumni support strengthens Public Allies. And if it's strengthened, it's going to be better for you too, right? And we can say, I think about even in terms of like going to funders, so we can say we have a robust alumni network. Our alumni continue to invest in Public Allies in these ways. We're more likely when it comes to like competing for funding to be able to get that, because we can tell the story of alumni that are heavily invested, and they're heavily
Hmm.
investing with their dollars. Unfortunately, we live in a capitalistic society where being able to say we got dollars matters. And even if we
Yeah.
can't say our alumni are donating millions of dollars, because a lot of our alumni still work in the nonprofit sector,
Hmm.
but we can say that out of 10,000 alumni, 8,000 are regular monthly donors. We can say that shows that you all are
Yeah.
heavily invested. So I say look into those ways, time, talents, and treasures that you can contribute to either your local site, to PA National. Open your emails when they
Hmm.
come. Those emails be good. Like, I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
the format of those
Mhm.
emails that come through. So open them,
Yeah.
engage, respond, connect with other um, alumni in your area. Like, don't forget that. I feel like a whole Public Allies televangelist, but like, don't forget that one of the goals of Public Allies, right, is to put folks in positions of leadership that accurately represents the communities that they're in.
Yes.
If you are plugged into your network, our network is strong. Get plugged in if you're not plugged in. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm not even saying my PA experience is perfect. I think everybody has PA hurt. That's real. Like,
Mm-hmm.
anytime you put folks together that are coming from different communities or coming from different experiences, we're gonna rub up against each other. We're gonna harm each other. We're
Mm-hmm.
gonna hurt each other. But we're gonna try to do our best to grow together and to heal together. So invest in that. Invest in
Mm-hmm.
yourself. If anybody wants to have a conversation with me about what it looks like to stay engaged as an alum, I'm always willing to have those conversations as well.
You're
So,
brilliant.
and I'm in there
You're
because
brilliant.
I'll be here for 10 minutes.
Right. Hey, and then, another thing what you said about like something that's poured into you and shaped you, you should want to pour back into that thing and make sure that it's around forever. I know like a lot of us, the PA has been around for 30 plus years. So, a lot of us have families or started families since graduating. And I know for me, I would love for PA to be around and stronger than ever for Lola to be an ally. And so I think that's another reason, compelling reason to donate something to PA.
My
So,
children served, my twins served, and that is one of
mhm,
such a point of pride for me. I
mhm,
was so excited to pin them at graduation. Oliver
Oh wow.
opted to take a
Yes.
different route, right? But if Oliver decides that after he finishes school, he wants to do a year of service at PA, I would love that. Nick is going to school to be a
Mm.
teacher. When Nick graduates, I plan on shipping him straight up to Eagle Rock, right? Like,
Yeah.
it's time
I
to,
love
it's
that.
time to deepen your service at PA. So you're
Hmm.
absolutely right. Like this
Hmm.
experience that you've had, and for a lot of marginalized groups, we're just getting to the point where we are like legacy status at like colleges and
Yes.
universities, right? So this is our legacy status,
It's our
right?
legacy.
Um, that
I
is
love that.
exciting. I'm glad that you brought us
Well,
to that point.
well, again, thank you, Shavonda. This has been great.
Thank
And
you. This was great.
yeah, and we'll do it again.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Thank you so much for joining us for this edition of Alumni to Alumni. As Giving Tuesday approaches, we invite you to join us in this extraordinary celebration of individual giving. Your contribution, no matter the size, has the power to drive change and transform communities for the better. Together, we can work toward creating a future that is truly just and equitable for all. Visit our website, publicallies.org, or follow our social media channels to learn more about how you can participate in Giving Tuesday and support our mission. This episode was produced by Jocelyn Evigan, Crisal Valencia, Shavonda Sisson, and Anthony Espinoza.